What is happening, everybody? Take a look at this good looking whip right here. Triumph Speed Twin 1200cc parallel 270-degree twin with who cares as much horsepower and a mountain of torque. This thing is a riot to ride. So I just got back from buzzing around on this thing. Let's talk about this bike. I mean, my goodness. We're rocking the Brembo brakes. Got that 1200cc HP Bonneville engine. Fit and finish is amazing on this bike. And of course, we've got all that sweet, sweet analog goodness. Let's fire her up and see what she sounds like. Oh yeah, so sweet. Love the burble on these bikes, it's so nice. Let's pipe it up a little bit for you. That sounds good. All right, let's get this thing into Triant of Houston and talk about it. All right, guys, real quick, a little bit of behind the scenes over here at Triant Houston. Always the gracious hosts that they are for me. Full service department, plenty of bikes on tap, getting ready to either be worked on or turned back into their respective parents. Showroom, the playground. Spend a lot of money in here. All right, guys, Triumph Speed Twin 1200. What is not to love about this bike? All the gobs of torque you could ever imagine having just at the slightest twist of the wrist. This is one of those types of motorcycles that just seems to be as sweet as a nut no matter what you're asking it to do. I was able to spend quite a bit of time with this bike today, and I got to tell you guys, it's hard not to fall in love with these big CC 270-degree parallel twins. It's not really a horsepower conversation though. This is just an overall motorcycling experience that you've got to take part in, or else any of the words that I'm going to share with you just really won't ring home. If you're used to bikes that really like to rev high, say a 600 or a 750cc sport bike, this is going to be a completely different world for you guys. The way I like to try to explain it to car guys is like this. Driving a car with a large displacement big block engine or a positive displacement supercharged engine is like riding one of these parallel twins, one of these big twin motorcycles. Lots of power down low, incredibly easy to ride, incredibly easy to live with, and without all of the headaches of having to wrap something out like a centrifugally supercharged engine may be. I know it's kind of hard to put into words sometimes what a riding experience is like, but for me, you couldn't put a prettier picture together that would give the best description of how this motorcycle is to actually buzz around on. At no time with these Triumphs do you ever feel like you need to really hammer on them. If you want to go faster, just switch gears and twist the throttle. And that's really the key takeaway. When it comes to these motorcycles, the big takeaway is that it is a fun bike to ride and it does everything exceptionally well. With the big Brembo brakes that this bike has and the grunty down low torque, you can find yourself maybe being a bit forgiven when you do start to stretch its legs a little bit. It's an easy proposition to find yourself in. And by the way, guys, this thing will buzz up to speeds that you might not be expecting out of a bike that is, well, basically looks like this. It's based off of the Bonneville platform, and, well, you know, it's got an old school architecture. You got the twin shocks in the back, adjustable forks up front. Should say not adjustable forks up front. The bike is set up really nicely though for street use. And again, these Triumphs are amazing at just that, street use. But it won't let you down in the twisties. I was able to get this bike over on its side on a few occasions, and it did not disappoint one bit. So guys, the big thing again with Triumph is going to be the fit and finish. So here's what I want to do. I want to compare this bike, well, with that girl right there. So let's dive into that a little bit. Guys, one of the things that separates the Triumph from, well, other manufacturers, and keep in mind that is my Z900 RS Cafe, but you got to give credit where it's due, guys. The fit and finish on the Triumph is far and away better. The paint quality, the seat quality, the build quality in general just seems to be more refined with the Triumph. Now, that's not taking anything away from the Kawasaki. There is a lot of good things to say about that little rocket ship right there. But if you're comparing the two bikes from a performance standpoint, well, this is where the whole retro coolness really needs to take precedence. I don't necessarily want to say that the Speed Twin is going to lack in performance to the Kawasaki. The Kawasaki is just going to offer a different level of performance at different riding conditions. In other words, that Triumph Speed Twin is going to rocket off of a stoplight with the Z900 gunning it down. But that's really not the point of these bikes. They are cool. They are awesome to ride. And I got to tell you guys, there is absolutely room in your garage for both. But really, guys, no matter which flavor you like, you got your parallel twin torque monster over here or your 4-cylinder Ripper. The thing that you're going after with this is that nostalgia, old school styling, that look. That's really the most important aspect of these bikes. And if that's the case, well, you cannot possibly do better than a black Bonneville T120. This has got the high torque version of the engine that's in that Speed Twin. Not quite the horsepower, but extremely punchy down low. And believe me, boys, this one will clip 100 faster than you might expect. And yeah, hey babe, there's your bike. This one's coming home for the family. So yeah, the Z900 is going to have a whole brand new stablemate. That's how much I like these parallel twins, guys. That's how much fun they are to ride. Much better performance than a lot of guys may give them credit for, or that many journalists will give them credit for. But each motorcycle has a thing that it is better at every other motorcycle at. And aside from being cool, Triumph's got that pretty much locked down, although there is a Kawasaki that would like to argue that point. Riding this thing, shut my mouth about ever looking at specifications on a motorcycle ever again. There'll be a bit more on this bike coming for you guys later on, but that's the new Bonnie for the stable. Okay, guys, and with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you so much to Triant Houston for letting me hang out with you guys and invade your space. Kind of got my own little studio back here. Anyway, post up your comments. Let me know what you think. And that's a wrap. Going to knock out some B-roll for you guys. The merch portion. The accessories portion. And the zoo. My playground for the day. And the coffee machine, because yeah, I don't know what it is about these bobbers, but I keep gravitating towards this thing. It's just such a neat looking bike. Same engine platform as that Bonneville, by the way. Oh. Don't need another sport bike, but if this thing stays here for too long, it may end up following me home. There she is with her new shoes. Oh, sweet. She'll be coming home next week. Cannot wait. All right, so let's chat about this thing real quickly. I know I don't want to leave you guys hanging too much. So Bonneville T120 Had to take it for a spin. Old school cool. The bike's performance actually impressed me. It runs so good. Partial throttle and lower RPM performance of this bike is actually, I gotta tell you guys, it's on par with the Speed Twin. I know it doesn't look it, but this little hot rod, I don't want to say it's a wolf in sheep's clothing. It's not exactly that, but it is such a fun bike to ride. So I had to put an addition to the stable. Plus, it's just such a classic looking bike. It's got the fender strap with the Triumph branding. Oh, so pretty, so classic. Love you too. But, damn. All right, guys, now that's a wrap. Y'all have a great one. Adios.